Welcome to Learn with me, Mrs. Sullivan's best tips and tricks for teachers. I'll show you how to save time, money, and your sanity. Ever feel like you're spending money on things that don't fit your exact needs? Thought about creating your own? Well, you're going to love this. A few minutes is all you'll need to create custom bingo games for the rest of your teaching career. I love using bingo games in the classroom. They're a great way to practice vocabulary and reinforce learning. The consistent format means they're easy to use and great for substitutes and parent volunteers. Bingo games are adaptable to any subject matter or academic level. Changing grade levels or teach more than one grade level? Modify your bingo games by changing the clue cards. You can take a bingo game through multiple levels of complexity just by changing those clue cards, and no need to make a new bingo game. Being able to use the same bingo game for multiple purposes is awesome and one of the reasons I love bingo games. Let's learn how to DIY custom bingo games. For the sake of clarity, the remainder of this tutorial will use a peach background for things that you, the teacher, will do, and a green background for the in-class procedures that you'll use with your students. You'll need to prepare a grid, a blank grid for your bingo games. 5x5 works well for second grade and up, and 4x4 is great for kindergarten and first grade. Draw your grid on a plain piece of paper and then Xerox it onto cardstock. I make about 100 to 200 copies at a time because remember, 100 copies is just going to give you 4 different bingo game class sets if you have 25 students. And I want to prep once for the entire school year. This next step is not necessary, but I find it very helpful. Fold a plain piece of paper into fourths and then draw rows and columns that are slightly smaller than the spaces on your bingo grid. I always Xerox a few copies to have them ready so that I can quickly fill in my desired vocabulary and I'm ready to go. Be sure to include a title before you Xerox them onto a regular piece of paper. Once you have that class set of those vocabulary words, you're ready to have your class assemble the bingo games. Every student will need glue, scissors, and a blank cardstock bingo grid. They'll also need the vocabulary paper to cut and glue onto the cardstock. However, before you pass these out, here's some tips. Emphasize that everyone gets to create a bingo card using their own pattern as they glue on the words. Give examples of a few different patterns, but stress that they must each create their own. Remind them to cut only one word at a time and glue each word in its place in their pattern before cutting out the next word. Pro tip to help kids who work slowly: cut word lists to create a fringe. Then they just need to make one cut each time before they glue it on. Be sure to have students glue the title onto the bingo cards. No room for the title on the front? Glue it on the back. Why? Because sometimes when cleaning up, you find random things tucked into students' desks or lost behind shelves, and the labels or titles allow you to easily identify what bingo game this particular card is from. I usually create the clue cards while playing the bingo game for the first time with the students. Using index cards, I just write each upcoming clue while they hunt for the previous one. It's a good idea to play Blackout on the first round to check the bingo games for errors and to allow you to create all the clue cards. Choose a method to protect the bingo games. You can use a pocket sheet protector or lamination. If you have the option for lamination and the time, it does make it easier to store the games, and it's not as slippery as sheet protectors, so it's easier to pass out to students. I like to store the bingo games in a large manila folder and label the edges. I'm going to glue or tape directions on the outside of the envelope. And this is helpful because it's perfect for parent helpers or subs. And you can see I have directions for a parent helper and general directions for a substitute teacher. I like to file these big envelopes into my file cabinet, and now it's ready to use at a moment's notice. If you like this, please show me by clicking the thumbs up. By doing a year's worth of prep, you're ready to quickly create sets of bingo games with you and your students. You might also like to check out the videos I've made for classroom instruction on Learn With Me, Mrs. Sullivan. And look for more teacher tips and tricks. Look for the links in the description box below. As always, thanks for watching Learn With Me, Mrs. Sullivan, how to create a class set of bingo games in 20 minutes.